Hi, my name is Jared, and I'm the founder of Starfish. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in Boston tonight. The Lean Startup team was kind enough to allow me to present remotely, so I recorded this presentation this morning. I want to tell you about my startup and what I learned during the challenge. You know how it feels when you're surfing the web and you find something cool, like this website for example, but you have to give out your email address? It happens every day, but I hate that, and I don't think I'm the only one. So I had this idea. What if instead of giving my email address, I could give a disposable, single-purpose email address instead? And what if I could do it really easily from right in my browser? So I entered the Lean Startup Challenge with this idea. And the first thing I did in the challenge was to put together my business model canvas. And what I did was I marked all the elements of the business model that I was uncertain about in red. In this case, I had 5 very uncertain categories. Removing this uncertainty was my highest priority. So here are 3 things that I did to reduce a lot of that uncertainty. The first thing was to get out of the building and interview customers. I did this in regular places like Starbucks, but I actually had greater success on the platform of the Charles MGH Red Line train station. This is sort of what it looks like on a regular afternoon. And the key is to wait for the train to leave and then interview the next person that walks up on the platform. They've got nothing better to do but talk to you. I'll share some of what I learned. First, asking people for their email address really irritates them. For some, it's a complete barrier, but for most people, it's just really annoying. Most people told me that they usually just grit their teeth and they give it out anyway. And that means that the pain point is widespread, but it's not something that really drives people nuts. Second, most people have 2 or 3 email addresses already. I found one guy who has 9. But people who have more than one email address still hate using them for signups. Third, almost everybody I spoke with hates it when they have to use Facebook Connect or OpenID to sign up. I learned a lot about social sign-in, so feel free to contact me if you have any questions about that. So, since I found that people were irritated but still signing up for things with their email address, I needed to know if they would be willing to change their behavior. If they weren't willing to change their behavior and take action to remove their irritation, then I would never be able to build a business around this idea. So the second thing I did was to quantify their pain and see if I could get them to take action. I drafted 150 Mechanical Turk workers, and I paid each of them a nickel to go to one of 3 daily deals websites. The only catch was each of the 3 websites were fakes that I made up. It was basically just a registration wall designed to make them decide whether they were going to sign up for something or not. And what I found was that when I did not ask for an email address, I get about a 60% sign-up rate. When I do ask for an email address, I get about the same sign-up rate. So people didn't stop signing up even though they were irritated. However, when I gave people the option of using a single-purpose email address instead of one of their existing ones, well then just over half of them opted to change their behavior and use a single-purpose email address instead. That was good enough for me, so I invested some time in building the product and I started a beta test with 12 users. But in the meantime, I set up the third experiment that I want to tell you about. This one is all about marketing. First, I placed a bunch of ads on Google, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Then, people started showing up at the landing page that I put together. And when they clicked on the Sign Up Now button, they got to see the pricing. If they clicked on Sign Up Now again, then I asked them for an email address. I did this because the product was still in beta testing and wasn't ready for sale yet. But that's okay because what I'm really testing is whether people express a willingness to pay for the product. And just arriving at this page is good enough for that. What I learned from this was how to test and enhance my marketing funnel. If you know the conversion rates from the top of your marketing funnel to the bottom, and you know the cost at the top, you can calculate the cost to acquire each paying customer. In a couple of weeks, I was able to set a baseline cost, and then after another week, I was able to cut it by more than half. I'm still driving it down, but I already know that the business can be profitable from the first day that I launch it. I did some other experiments, including the beta test, but these are the 3 things I want to share with you, and I got a massive reduction in the amount of uncertainty in my business. So, let's look back and look at my very first Lean Startup Canvas one more time. If I step through each of the canvases for each week of the contest, you can see how the amount of red goes down, until you get to today, when I've got significantly more confidence in the business model. And that's really quite phenomenal for a 6-week period of time. That's all I've got. Thanks for your attention, and I look forward to answering your questions.